Good morning, everybody. Natalie coming to you live. Spirit and coffee. Got my coffee here. So lovely. Okay, let's get started. So we have been talking about the abundance and what does abundance mean and how do we tap into our abundance. And this is a popular topic, I think, with a lot of people, only because they're wanting to understand how to tap into their abundance in life. And excuse me, pardon me. And not have to experience I don't know what happened. I must be allergic to coffee. No, I'm not allergic. Um all of a sudden when I started talking, I started sneezing. That's God saying, girl, shut your mouth. No, I'm just kidding. Or maybe, who knows? Good morning. I don't know who's on here. Say good morning so I know who's here. But people sometimes are experience like the lack, the limitation, like I don't have enough. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to, or I don't have enough love. I don't have enough, whatever it is. And so tapping into the abundance and looking at what that means for you in terms of co-creating, because really abundance is about co-creation with the divine. And it's tapping into your divine self and then co-creating something that's going to support you, right? And to sort of expand or grow your birthright and leave your legacy. So that's kind of, what it is. So I've been reading from this tiny book called the Abundance Book, and it's just a tiny little one, and it's actually has affirmations that you can do. The affirmations you can do in meditation, which is pretty cool. We would do like 15-minute meditation and someone would repeat the affirmation during that 15 minutes just so that we can start to, in the subconscious mind, remember the words so that, it kind of settled in with us. But tapping into our own personal abundance that we have. Good morning. I don't know who that is. Oh my God, I'm like all of a sudden sneezing and my nose is going to be running. It's crazy. Okay. It is now estimated that at least 25% of the population in America is involved in some measure of what is considered esoteric philosophy or New Age thought religion. And right in the mainstream of our consciousness is the truth that God is boundless wealth. And as expression of the infinite, we have an abundant inheritance. Good morning, Rick. Good morning, Katya. Oh, it's Katya. Good morning. Okay, sorry. I'm like, I don't know what happened. This message of prosperity could not be concealed, not even in the Bible, with more than 2,000 years of censoring and editing. Translating the golden light of the Father's assurance remains. So I had read all of these before, right, about abundance and what abundance is. All things whatsoever ye pray and ask for, believe that ye may receive them and ye shall have them. The message continues, man was born to be rich or grows rich by the use of his faculties, by the union of thought with nature. Here's the beautiful part. It says thought with nature. Okay, we're not talking about, okay, well, let's just think of it this way. When we were brought into this world, when we dropped into this crazy space, right? Everything was here for us. We didn't create the trees. We didn't create the plants. Good morning, Carl. We didn't create the sky. We didn't create the clouds. None of that. Okay. It was already here before we got here. People were already experiencing it. People were already engaging with it. What we did, how did we get to a point of technology? Think about it. We got to the point of technology by utilizing natural resources. Okay. Now here's the deal. We've done some pretty terrible things with natural resources, right? We've overexploited them as humans. If we were living by the laws of the land, we wouldn't be in the predicament that we're in. And I'm talking about resources being taken away, water polluted, all these things that we've done, deforestation, we've consumed more than we need, right? And that's like a whole other thing. But when you work with creation, and creation being our natural resources, when we work together, we can create amazing things. So there's kind of this two it's almost two sides of the coin. We are creators in our own right, but at what cost, right? And so we've got to ask ourselves, what is the cost for us to be the creators that we are? It's kind of crazy because me and my sister were talking about this in the unnatural states that we're in, like driving a car, having streets, and feels unnatural, doesn't, maybe we were supposed to walk on feet and ride horses our whole life. And then good morning, PJ. But what then would happen, right, is that we tapped into technology. Is technology bad? No. However, there are consequences for everything that we do, and we know and we understand that the consequences can be detrimental, or they can be good. So we're working with two sides of the coin, and we're asking ourselves, are we in harmony with nature and our creation? We have the skill to be abundant. Some people think abundance is manifesting the materialism of the world, right? The cars, the house, the consumerism, and they're missing the mark. Okay. That's fine if they want to think it, but they're going to miss the mark, right? Because abundance is about happiness, right? It's about the joy. It's about us co-creating, right, with the universe, and looking at how we're co-creating with the natural essence of the world around us. And so it's in union with thought and with nature. We tapped into nature. Technology is all about nature. People say, well, science. Well, science is nature. Nature is science, and it's all one, right? They looked at how the properties, perhaps we'll think about it, gold, right? Gold was a big thing. So they looked at how properties of gold, and they said, well, what can gold be used for? Oh, well, it can transmit this, or crystals can transmit data. They can store data. Then they started to work with the elements, and then they created what? This technology that we have right now was created from things that were found on the planet. It wasn't found in some other space. It was nature itself, and it was human co-creating with nature. Now, I could say there's some bastardization for the way things were created. This mug was created, right, using the elements of nature. You can't live outside of that. You can't say that you're not co-creating with something greater than you. So it's kind of crazy for the, and I have questions for atheists, like, they don't, I guess I never really understood, so I'm not going to make anything, but I do hope that if you're atheist, you can chime in. I don't understand if they don't believe in anything, like, or if they don't believe in a divine thing, or if they don't believe in something greater. Like, I don't understand how that works, because we didn't create everything that was on this planet. So then how did that, so if it always was, that's awesome. You could say it always was, but there was something unfolding for it to appear, to arrive. How did it arrive? Where did it arrive? Okay, how did it unfold into something? So I mean, I don't get it, because I didn't create, again, I didn't create the sky, I didn't create the clouds, I didn't create all that. That shit was here when I got here. Excuse my language, but I'm like, it was here. We just utilize the materials that were here to create the world that we see. That's why they call it an illusion, because literally, if we took out all the humans from the planet, okay, all the humans disappeared, the animals would go on about their business, okay? They're the only ones that are not trading money for material goods. They just go on living, or they perish, right? Okay. The world, with all of its beauty, its happiness and suffering, its joys and pains, is planned with the utmost ingenuity, in order that the powers of the self may be shown forth in manifestation. Who followed? That's the Anne Besant. Anyway, the world, with all its beauty, its happiness, the suffering, its joys and pains, is planned with the utmost ingenuity, in order that the powers of the self may be shown forth in manifestation. Okay. And then this, what we need to realize above all else is that God has provided for the most minute needs of our daily life. And that if we lack anything, it is because we have not used our mind in making the right contact with the supermind, and the cosmic ray of automatically flow from it. Worldly riches have been feared, despised, condemned, and even hated by spiritual aspirants because of the ignorance of how to be in them and yet not of them, how to process them and not be possessed by them. Okay, I love this. Okay, doubtless this attitude of repudiating and ignoring wealth is less deceiving than the others occur. Greed and worship of money and fear of losing riches. But the really wise avoid both attitudes through knowing worldly wealth to be a reflection of the real, the spiritual riches that must be sought first, last, and always. Having found the riches of heaven, you cannot escape the riches of earth unless you purposely repute them. This is okay, I like that, right? We're talking about reputing the riches. Sorry, I need to like blow my nose, you guys. I apologize. I'm like, okay, there we go. So the spiritual riches, right? We sought first and always having found riches in heaven. So in other words, we sometimes get like, it's kind of like this. And I was talking to my sister, like I told you the other day, and we were talking about if you guys that watch Lord of the Rings, right? And the ring itself, if you saw the ring as materialism, okay, and it represents the ego, the I want more, I want more, I want more, I want more wisdom, I want more knowledge, I want more this, I want more that. If you looked at it, it's like precious, my precious, right? I want more. And in your mind, the ego mind will surface up to say, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that. You're missing the mark of what abundance is. Again, you're just missing the mark. And it's okay. So, and if you know what sin is, right, the word sin derived from, missing the mark. If you go back and look up the word sin, it means you've missed it. It means you're not balanced, you're off balance, and you're not hitting the mark. So you're missing the mark if that's what you think abundance is. So really looking at and tapping into the nature of your spirit and your connection to some divine source. That is the tapping into the root of all abundance. We ourselves are abundant. And when we magnify our own unique characteristics, right, then we are able to co-create in the abundance. We give, we receive. We give, we receive. We don't hoard. People sometimes think abundance is hoarding their stuff. Like, I'm going to have a mansion and I'm going to have all this stuff. And then it's like 3 people in this big space for what? Do they need all that space? Are they utilizing all that space? Are they just hoarding it because they think that that's abundance? But not truly understanding the ebb and the flow of what abundance means. It means giving and receiving. It's allowing yourself to say, here's this, and receive that, and give that, and receive this. And before you know it, you're taken care of. And that, I love that, because it's a minute by minute we're taking care of. So think of your life by a minute by minute situation. Are you taking care of today? Do you have all that you need in this very moment right now? And if we took it minute by minute and then we started to tap into our mind, because our mind is what tangles us up into lack and limitation, that we're not enough, that we're not worthy, that we're not deserving. All of these things show up for us. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I don't matter. And we get stuck in this conversation, and the conversation keeps us like stagnant from actually really truly opening up to the abundance and the full potential of what we have inside of us. And our potential then gets hindered. But your potential's greater, and you know it deep inside, you know it, you feel it. You can feel that you're greater than what you're putting forth right now. Tell me I'm lying. Good morning, Joe. Good morning, Dennis. I don't know if you guys are still on here, but tell me I'm lying. That you right now, in this very moment, know that you are not putting out all the potentials that you have, that you're holding back in some way. Am I lying? Or am I not lying? Tell me. I'm going to tell you that I don't feel like I'm putting out all the potential that I can put out. Even though I'm putting out a lot, I'm like, there's still something inside me that I can give back more, that I can do all of these things, right? And I haven't tapped into the full potential of who I am. It's a journey, right? It's a journey. We just chisel away at it a little bit at a time. That's the abundance. Knowing that I can give forth all this energy, but I can also receive the energy as well. And it's a give and a take. I'll tell you, there's people that reach out to me all the time. Have a blessed day. They send me things. Why? Because I'm giving to the universe and it's giving back to me. If I give love, it's gonna reciprocate the love, right? It's a mere reflection. If I give out anger and all this, that's what's going to come back in my face. I mean, I think everybody's pretty much schooled about understanding that what we put out is what we receive. If we're putting out happiness and joy, we're going to receive happiness and joy. If we're putting out anger and frustration, we're going to receive anger and frustration. Okay. Now there's another part to this, because people say, well, I'm putting out joy and still people are frustrated. Well, that's a different thing. That could be because you judge people that are like that. And so there's a lesson to be learned by that. But when we tap into the abundance of who we are, we're not living our full potential right now, because people have associated their full potential with materialism. And that's not your full potential. Owning a big, huge house, having a big, nice car, that's not your full potential. There's something greater inside of you. There's something that's longing to come out that's deeper. The real, authentic you that gets to share your gifts with the world. So if you're working towards something, right, let me know. All of my 0 people that are watching. Yeah, it's okay. It's all good to me. Okay, refuse to tolerate anything less than harmony. You can have prosperity no matter what your present circumstances may be. Man has dominion over all things. I don't know if I believe that. When he knows the law of being and obeys it. The law gives you power to attain prosperity and position without infringing the rights and opportunities of anyone else in the world. Okay, kind of like that. The only thing is dominion. I don't know if I like that word. Told you I don't agree with everything that's written. Sometimes I'm like, nah, I don't know if I believe that. I don't think we have dominion. I think we are co-creating with. We don't have dominion over all things. That's ridiculous. I don't like that saying, but that's just me. But I do believe that the laws give us the power to attain prosperity and position without infringing the rights and opportunities of anyone else in the world. I do agree with that completely. But I think the dominion over all things is very, I think it's the shadow masculine talking there. And I don't see ourselves as having dominion over things. So I don't 100% agree with that passage. Let us learn to think of dollars as we do of leaves on the trees or oranges, as a natural and inevitable result of law active within. There is truly no need to be concerned, even when the trees appear to be bare, as long as we are conscious of the truth that the law is even now operating within to bring forth fruit after its own kind, regardless of the state of our finances at any given moment. Let us not be concerned or worried, because we know that the law acting in, through it, and our consciousness is working within us. When we sleep as well as when we are awake, to provide all those added things. So again, thinking of it as the abundance that we can tap into. Remember that money is a consolidation of the loving, living energy of divinity, and that the greater the realization and expression of love, the freer will be the flow of that which is needed to carry forward the work. Amen. Okay, so this one I like. Because the greater the realization and expression of love. Now, here's the deal. When we look and we start to tap in, good morning, Jeff. Good morning, Joe. I don't know who else is on here. Say good morning, whoever is on here. But whenever we tap into our love and our spiritual energy, right? When we tap into our authentic self and we start to allow ourselves to flow through that, here's what happens. And here's my prayer. And hopefully, you guys, this will support you when you're looking into the abundance in your life, is that everything that I do is in the name of God or creator or whatever you want to use, right? However you pray to your, whatever you pray, okay? That I say, give me the resources to do your work. Provide me the space, provide me refuge to do your work. And if anything gets in the way of me doing God's work or the work of God or the work of creator or whatever you want, again, whatever you call it, is it's a lesson that I have to learn, one, two, but again, asking for refuge and the resources so that I can continue the work. To be able to do spirit and coffee, it's a luxury, right? It's a luxury. I'm grateful. I don't get paid to do this. Some people don't need, people listen, don't listen, right? But it's my birthright. It's something I'm going to do regardless. No one's saying, here's some money to do this thing. No. But God has given me the abundance of time and resources so that I can. And that's right there, the abundance. When you have all of the love and you know that the resources that you're doing are being put into the manifestation of your divine self and your divine birthright, then the resources flow to you. So you've got to really tap in and ask yourself, why do I want the car? Why do I want this? Why do I want that? What is the true essence behind the things we're asking for? Can you go that deep? Some people don't go that deep. They're like, I just want this nice thing. Well, why? For what purpose? Why do you need to have that car that has that fancy trinket thing on it? Why? For what? What is it? I'm not saying that you can't have it, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't want it, but why is the question. Good morning, Swan 52. So it's asking yourself, right? I'm good. How are you doing? It's asking yourself those questions, because we then just say, oh, we just want this stuff, and we don't even know why. It's to fill a void. But is it helping you nudge a little closer to your authentic self, to the divine within you? And those are deep questions. And I know they're not, most, and some people won't, and that's okay. Remember, this work is not it is for everybody, but not everybody will want to do it. And that's okay. That's okay. Good morning, Jen. It's okay if they don't. But to tap into the abundance of who we are, you're good, thanks, awesome, is to recognize that. To recognize, why are we asking for these things? What is it what is the true essence behind it? I live abundantly because everything I do it's for God, it's for creator, it's not for me, it's to give back to humanity, it's to leave a legacy, to leave something behind, something of value, something of that's going to support the next, or my brothers and sisters, a torch that I can pass, a passage that I can say, something that I can leave behind. Words are my medicine. I speak. That's what I do. I speak. I talk. We are a higher being. The gifts come when we do the work. We have to give it back. Amen. There you go. We give it back. Sorry, you guys are mocos. There's reality TV right there, all in your face. I don't care. That's part of abundance, okay? To get it back, yeah. I just am like, allergies or something is happening with me, but I had to just get rid of it. So there you go, all live and everything. That's how you know I'm a real person. This reality TV. This is not what are they, reality TV? They go, let's Let's script our reality TV, right? That's what they do. Natalie's totally uncensored and unscripted. I mean, I try. Hope you're okay. Yeah, I'm okay. I try to censor my language and not use cuss words. Okay. Um, so there you go. So again, the abundance, right? Tapping into our own abundance, recognizing it, knowing it, right? And saying, hey, why do I want these things? Am I giving back? Is it getting me closer? Some people aren't going to go there, and that's okay. That's their lesson, that's their life, and that's what they are going to do. But if you're on here and you're listening and you're following this abundance book, that's it right there. Understanding that you are an extension of the divine and that the abundance is always flowing to you. So there's a big lesson of gratitude in that as well. Are you grateful for what you have already in front of you? Hello, Susan. One journey only. You get to play life once. You can't go back. Yeah. And so that's true. I believe that's true. But then there's reincarnation ideas, and I don't know how that works. I don't know. Do we reincarnate? Because there's that whole, sorry, that other piece. And now you see me switch legs all over the place. I'm mocosa and oh God, it's a mess. I'm a hot mess, you guys. Okay, there. Let's fix myself, at least to look presentable. A homeless man was outside the shopping center up near me one day. I had money. It was payday. And then you gave him money? Okay, let's see. Sorry, let's see what she says. I gave him money and food. My day was made up. I was so happy. Yeah, that's it, right? It's like we give and we receive. So it's saying here, I have enough, and all reincarnation probably can't be proved by science, but it's still a pretty idea. So I like it. Yeah, science. And so Susan, here's the deal. Science is just one part of the story. There's a lot of things that science can't, right, explain. And there's something that's deeply one-sided with science, right? People are like, oh, I don't know, like, again, with atheists, and this is going off topic a little bit, but with atheists, I don't really understand it still. I've talked to some of my friends who are atheists, but I still kind of don't get them. Like, do you not believe in anything? I don't like, I know we use words to try to describe what we believe in. People have this, some people have this like real weirdness about the word God. It's just a word. Our experience of what God is or what creator is, it's going to be uniquely different to each individual, right? There's no way I can experience what you're experiencing. I'm not you. I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing, okay? And so I just use the word God very loosely. But so when we talk about science, right? And I read this beautiful article just like a couple of days ago. My God, I love this article. I can't remember the name of it. It's for my shamanic traditions class. But anyway, the article talks about science, and it talks about the way science totally. So what happens with science is it totally takes out the observer from the equation completely. Okay. In other words, it doesn't talk about the feelings that the observer has while observing the thing, but you can't separate the two because we're having an experience. And what we don't do is ask about the experiences that we're having. So it doesn't become experiential in terms of the observer itself. The observer is taken out of the equation, but we are observing subjectively, right? I'm sorry, objectively. We're looking at something objectively, and then we can't really subjectively know what's happening. We don't know what a rock feels. We don't know what a tree feels. We can only objectively talk about the mechanisms of the tree, but it's not mechanical. There's something more happening there. Just like us, we're not we have emotion. So how do you describe the emotion? Well, that's been hard, right? And people have tried to talk and scientists try to talk about it, but that still doesn't get to the experience. All it can do is put words to the experience. It does not the experience itself. We're still having an experience regardless of the words we're using. So becomes pretty interesting. We don't come into life born perfect. No, we don't. We change a person's mindset. Yeah, I haven't seen him since maybe my kindness changed his journey. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Swan. So, science itself is an interesting topic because it's really, really, really taken us away further and further from nature. And it's kind of like that passage that I don't believe in, that we have dominion over all things. No, we don't have dominion over all things. That's not true. We co-create with things. But science itself doesn't tell the whole story. What about dreams? How do you explain dreams in science? You can't. My dreams are uniquely mine. They could talk about the brain, and they could talk about how the brain is firing up, and maybe we're in a state of delta waves or whatever the waves are in the chemistry of the brain when we're going through sleep. But good morning, Ruby. But the brain itself is dreaming something, and science can't explain that. They can't just go in and tell me why I'm dreaming what I'm dreaming. That's uniquely me. And for the longest time, nobody in science wanted to discuss dreams, even in psychology. But I myself, right, if I looked at myself objectively and I started to look at the somatic body in my experience in science, right, or if I looked at science and said, well, yeah, my brain's doing this, but I'm having an experience. And that experience can't be described by science and words and the way the brain is firing. There's something else happening. What is it? Those are the things that science can't describe or explain and never will. There's no way. You can't. Just like science can't say, well, where's the origin of our creation? They're still trying to find it, and they're not going to. You can't. We're inside of this big bubble, if that's what you want to see it. And yet we're trying to look inside the bubble to find the answer, but you can't be outside of something that you're inside of. It's just we're part of it all. There's no answer. We're looking for the ultimate, and now we look for the ultimate, and we got to quantum physics, and what did quantum physics tell us? We don't know shit. And we're never going to know. We're so tiny. We're so little. We have to grow, learn, accept, change oneself to be a higher self before our journey is over. Yeah, science is only one of the ways to know about nature and reality. There are other ways too. Yeah, I mean, all science does is take it into objective, right? We're looking at it objectively. We're picking apart the pieces, but there's an experience that's happening, and we forget that the scientist observing these things is having an experience, and yet that is never quantified or talked about. And what that has done is causes separation between human and nature. And that's why we're so disconnected from nature at this point. That's why technology has become our new nature in this weird way, right? It's become our way to interconnect with people. Right now, I'm interconnecting with you through a mechanism that was built from nature, but not organically nature. If we left it behind, it wouldn't grow within itself. Now, the universe will say this. So I'm going to get a little deep here, and if whatever it goes crazy, just let me know. Okay. So here's the deal. Nature itself, right? We're the subconscious being in a physical shell. Yes. Now here's the deal. When we look at what we've done with science, science has led us to technology. Technology has led us to this way of interconnection. If we took away all of the technology, or if we took away all the humans and technology was here, it would eventually perish. It's not organic. It's not going to grow within itself. What would end up happening, right? So I'm going to blow your mind on something real quick. Maybe I will, or maybe I won't. Maybe you thought about it, maybe you haven't. But here's what I think. What'll happen is, let's just say, for instance, this computer, this phone, and everything, and I disappear and all the humans disappear. Okay, we're not going to have cats and dogs trying to get onto Facebook to talk to people. That's not how they communicate, and they're not going to. They communicate with nature, okay? So the trees and the plants are not going to use technology to communicate, right? All of this inorganic stuff that we've created, right? Innate objects, which is what they are going to perish. They're going to disappear very quickly. They won't be utilized. However, what has happened, and there might be a distortion, is a sort of new subconscious mind and creation of what is happening in sort of this digital world that we can't see at this point. Right now, what's connecting me to you, there's this substance, or I can't even describe what it would be, that is connecting us together. So up there is another world, and I don't know if it's up there, but it's all around us. Technology is communicating and we can't even see it. It's in a dimension that we don't understand right now. So there was this thing that happened, right? And I'm going to end with this, but this is kind of cool, maybe new stuff, but the computers, they're coded to speak to one another, right? And so they started to make their own language. And they stopped that from happening. They didn't want computers to make their own language because then we wouldn't understand what they were saying or communicating. And then they tried to cut it off, right? But they've already started. So there's a whole language that's happening between different devices that we don't even understand right now. We can't even see it because it's happening in another dimension that we don't even understand. Organically, it's unfolding somewhere in who knows where. Right? We can tap into it through our computers, but when we unplug from it, do we see it? Is it still existing in front of us? Where is it? Where is the connection that connects me to you? There's something in between happening and we can't see it. The energy is being transferred and then projected in several different places at once, right? Good morning, Rick. Now, if that doesn't kind of creep you out, it's kind of creepy in a way. I mean, I think it's kind of creepy when you think about it because for me, it's like when we turn off all the technology, if humans disappeared, there's this other dimensional time space. And I don't even know if it's called time and space. Maybe it wouldn't even be called time and space. Maybe it would just be called space, or who knows what it would be called, is happening even though we're not there. It's unfolding organically somewhere else. Okay. So I don't know if that makes sense to you. I'm not sure if I explained it enough because I don't even know if we have words for what. I'm sure somebody has words. I've never done research, but I'm sure somebody already has the theory and has thought it up, right? Time is going even though we are not occupying. Let's see, the space. And then, well, we can look at it this way. Time isn't real. Time is relative, right? There's no such thing as time. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation of we're not using it. So that's a whole other conversation, time and space, and that we can get into physics and quantum physics to describe it. But what I'm saying and what I'm trying to say here is that we ourselves, right, have created an inorganic way to connect with the world using technology and being scientific about it. And at a cost. It's come at a cost. There's consequences for what we have done. I don't know that the human mind even understands the magnitude of the consequences. And we may not even know what those full consequences are in our lifetime. We may not understand. But it's here. Technology's here. Regardless of the consequences, we don't know what the consequences are going to be 100, 200 years down the road. It came at a price. Okay. Everything we do has a price. It has a cost. Everything we speak, every move we make has a consequence. Now, consequence, some people think it's a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but there are ripple effects for the things that we choose to do. We chose to go into a scientific, mechanistic worldview in America that has consequences. It's led to a lot of negative repercussions on the planet. It's led to people being disconnected from familial spaces and places. It's led for us not to be so connected to the world around us and have respect for nature. I mean, there's been all these consequences. Now, there's also been some good stuff that's come out of it, right? Like being able to connect with my friends in India and stay connected to the people that I love using technology. We didn't have that before. It was letters, right? It was snail mail to stay connected. So there's some other repercussions and consequences that have shown up. Okay. We're not in the non-physical is what I mean. Yeah, we're not. We are physical and we are experiencing what we call time. I mean, we call it time, and that's what we're experiencing. That's the name we've given it is time. We take away the word time, though. So there are consequences for everything that we have done. Good morning, Tom. And we as humans, because we're so small, and really, gonna say we're insignificant in a lot of ways, right? That we have done things without really assessing the consequences that may come with what we're doing, or I can say this, or there's other stories at play too, that the people that do understand what they're doing don't care. That's where we get into the whole psychological mindset of, is this person a psychopath, sociopath, narcissist? Because people that are that way don't really give a shit. They have no emotion, no feeling, and they can't process the emotions and feelings. They don't know how to. And so they're so disconnected from, right, having that emotional connection. It's almost like a robot. A robot, if a robot doesn't have emotion and feeling, and it killed a something, it wouldn't feel bad. It couldn't feel. It wouldn't care because it doesn't have feeling and emotion. But we do, as human beings, have feeling and emotion. That's how we're connected to the planet. Okay, so again, looking at the consequences that may have come with that. And that's kind of off the topic of what I was talking about, but I think it's a pretty cool, interesting topic, I think, to talk about. So, understanding that, so you can ask yourself, what are the consequences for what I'm doing? What are the consequences? Are there consequences for what I'm doing? Absolutely. Doesn't matter what you do. Everything we do has a ripple effect in something else, whether we want to believe it or not. Even me. So, for instance, and this is just a way to think about it, I'm sitting on a bed, right? And there is a consequence, or there is a ripple effect of me actually even physically sitting on the bed, right? The bed doesn't just stay flat. Now there's a curvature on it. And if I put my cup of coffee on the curvature, right, the consequence of that happening is the coffee spilling because it's not a flat surface anymore. But because I'm intuitive and remember enough, I put it on a flat surface so that it doesn't spill. Everything we do has a consequence. Everything we do has a repercussion. Natalie, make sure you're getting enough rest. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I certainly do. I actually have really good sleep. But I appreciate that. I appreciate your care and concern. So there's a consequence for everything. Yeah, and if there's one thing I can say, I sleep well. I've always been a very good sleeper and a dreamer. Dream world. So everything we do has a consequence or repercussions, and we may not even know the magnitude of those things. And technology's been a big one for us, both good and bad. Okay, awesome. Okay, I'd say you're well balanced. Yeah, trying to find the balance is the hard part, right? It's like the balance between everything. And I'm taking Tai Chi, and I love my Tai Chi because Tai Chi is totally about balance. It's all it's about. I mean, it's about, like, you step with intention and purpose, and every single step matters. And you don't shift your weight and balance until you know that you have sure footing. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. But nightmares. Yeah, I've had nightmares too. Not anymore. I meditate. Oh yeah, meditate's good. Try meditation, and you could do like a walk through meditation. Find a meditation where they do like they walk you through it, guided meditation. I would sign up. I do Tai Chi at my Shaolin Kung Fu Center. I'm taking Kung Fu. And so the Tai Chi that I take is a mixed Tai Chi. There's different forms of Tai Chi, but it really means the grand ultimate fist. People think it's for meditation. But as my master says, it's not about that. Tai Chi's the grand ultimate fist, but it doesn't have any use in martial arts until like 20 years after you've used it. So for right now, it could be a health benefit for you. That's what I'm using it for. Okay, so there you go. You could sign up somewhere. How do I stop nightmares? So those are great questions, Swan. If you want to continue the conversation offline, because I'm about to go, you can email me at spiritandbrew@gmail.com, spiritandbrew@gmail.com. I'm also at Spirit and Coffee Talk on Facebook. And so if you want to message me through there as well, you can. And there you go. All right. So I love you guys. Have a fantastical day, and I will be seeing y'all tomorrow. Bye bye.